Ah, I am live. I thought for a minute I wasn't going to get on. Oh my goodness. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Niam. And Anne. From London, from Watford and Hertfordshire. Hello, everybody. Hey, Penzance, Cornwall. How fab. And Germany. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is lovely. I always love this. I'm trying to not sit on my hair thing. That wouldn't be good. And Macca, hi, from Lancing. Lovely to see everybody joining. And Birmingham. Oh, this really is. Look at this. Edinburgh, New York, Yorkshire, Derbyshire, Virginia. Hi, Kerry. Alabama. Oh, my goodness. So much love to everybody. I love seeing all of this. I'm going to get totally distracted. And you know me, I will be rambling on all over the shop. What an amazing thing this is. I mean, I am a bit of a technophobe generally, but on these things, I do absolutely love that sense of seeing everybody from Taiwan. Look at this, from Taiwan to Goring, from Illinois to Scotland to Germany, New Zealand. Oh my goodness. And County Clare, Ireland, Melbourne. Goodness sake, that is just amazing. There's too many of you. I will, as always, I am rubbish at keeping up with the comments and things like this. So what I will do is try very hard to answer all sorts of questions and things later. I do get distracted every now and then. But the subject I'm going to be wittering on about today is belonging, and how in this crazy doolally sense of time and space that we're in at the moment, globally, it's a bit mad to keep our sense of balance and our sense of belonging when our spirituality is being knocked every which way, and life is changing, and we've been in isolation, we've been locked down, we've been institutionalized in lots of ways. No matter where we are, we all have that sense of connection. I can't believe how many people there are, just so many. I keep seeing everybody popping up. I'm going to just keep waving every now and then and just saying hello. What a global community this is. But it's interesting. One of the reasons I chose belonging this evening, when Philip asked if anyone could step up, is because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that they've been feeling lost and isolated and not connected, not knowing what they're doing their Druidry for at the moment, because they've lost that sense of belonging and what it's all about. And it got me thinking. I've been thinking about it because it's part of my own personal train of thought. You know, when you're an introvert and you spend a lot of your time looking inwards, and you haven't had the opportunity to be out there in the world very much over the past sort of 2 / almost 3 years now. How do you reintegrate yourself with that? How do you re-find that sense of belonging? How do you start to re-trust everybody again? And I have a particular problem with that because I have found during lockdown, as many other people, a sense that people have kind of tried to lost they've lost the plot a bit, to put it kindly. And there's been a lot of loss of trust in people, I think. There's been a lot of people saying, I never thought this person or that person would ever say things like this, or, you know, what does Druidry mean now? How can I find, you know, what does my Druidry now mean in the face of all of these difficult things that I'm being challenged with? And I have to say that one of the things I love about Druidry is the fact that it gives me a sense of, a bit like the Temperance card in the tarot, it gives a deep connection with your feet flat on the floor of the earth to start with, and the chance to remember that not everything that happens in the world is orientated around human beings, much as we're led to believe it is. But it's like, first and foremost, what we need to do is re-find our own feet, our own sense of who we are, before we start looking at how we relate to the rest of the world. And there is a sense of anger and all kinds of things. Just caught somebody saying the young adults seem to be so angry, ready. I've got a hair, sorry, flying off the handle so quickly at the smallest perceived slight. It's true. Everybody just seems to be on a hair trigger at the moment. But the only way we can deal with that is by actually really just pulling it back to stop looking at what everybody else is doing, and just stop and take a look in the mirror ourselves, at ourselves, and re-find who we are. It's about bringing that perspective back to, what do I believe? What actually is the truth of what I believe? There's a lot of things flying around, a lot of opinions. Everybody has opinions. But what opinions chime as right and true in here, in this space? And when I feel this space and I connect it with my feet, how does that core feel? Is it really strong and straight and true? And if not, why isn't it? And the way to, I really have got a loose hair there. My personal way of doing this is to examine my own language when I respond to things, and to actually look at how I respond to these things. So when, if the TV's on and there's murder and mayhem and chaos everywhere, I look at my response to that, and I have to ask myself, what is it I'm responding to in there? Because the media, I find, generally is always trying to promote the idea of an enemy. There's always an enemy somewhere, and then we become warriors in the world. We have to be warriors. We have to fight this perceived enemy, and that is a very slippery slope. That propaganda is overwhelming and not easy to avoid. So to stay true to your own particular core, to your own moral precepts, is the biggest task. And how can Druidry help us do that? I'm unwaveringly sure that just about everybody who is on this list or is watching now, or who will watch at some point in the future, that we all, first and foremost, go back to the earth. We sit our backsides down on the earth, with our back against a tree, and we look at the sky and we take in a long, slow breath, and we have a word with ourselves, and we have those conversations within. What is that anger? What is that feeling? What is that sense that is poking us to respond and react? And I think more around, and I'm seeing it up here, I think there's a lot of people who are feeling exactly the same way. They are taking that breath. They are realizing that a lot of what is being said is just noise. It's a cacophony. We're in a shifting, changing time. And how we respond to those shifts and changes, it says more, should say more to ourselves, about ourselves, than it does what everybody else is saying. Because a lot of the time, what everybody else is saying is requoted or misquoted or turned around and altered in some way so that it says something that somebody else wants them to say, not necessarily what they meant, and it's very easy. As somebody said, everyone is easily triggered as their nervous systems are deregulated, and I think that's absolutely true. And it's about pulling that back, pulling it back, pulling it back, and pulling it back. And not trying to fight issues that are so huge that we have no hope of actually attaining any kind of resolution from them. A lot of people have difficulties in their lives, and they think that if they can just fly the banner for one particular issue, that everything else in their life might drop in nice and neatly all behind it and all will be resolved. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. And we are, and the other thing I'm realizing, I hit 60 this year. Don't like that fact. We'll pass on. I've seen all this before. We watched a program about the 1978 in Britain. Oh my God. It was like watching current news. Exactly the same things. Hello, Val. Exactly the same things happening on the television. History, human history, and I'm saying human history here, literally repeats itself endlessly in cycles, because every generation thinks the last generation was old hat, hadn't got any answers, and had messed everything up. Truthfully, we did mess a lot of things up. However, we also resolved a lot of issues, which is why the next generation has the ability to actually be, as gobby as they are. A lot of the time, I was gobby when I was a next generation. My kids have been gobby. Other people's kids are being gobby. And that's how it damn well should be. Everybody should be gobby, but we should also learn our history, and we should teach more about social history within schools and stuff. And then maybe these things wouldn't endlessly recycle, giving us all this existential angst, thinking that there is no hope for anything anywhere, because there is. There is always hope. There is always a powerful sense of hope, but we can't look to humans for it. We have to look to the earth for it. And we have to be in dialogue with our own square foot that we're standing on, with our 2 feet. And then we have to look broader, and we have to listen to what that earth is saying to us in that moment. What do we need? We're asking for it to hold us and to nurture us, to maybe feed us. You all know I'm a gardener. I have an exchange with the earth that is a very practical way of focusing. It stills the noise from outside, and it makes me focus on how our ancestors would have worked, what their true emotional connections would have been with the earth, the bargains they would have made in order for their lives to be fruitful and for themselves to be fed. And it's an exchange. There is always an exchange to be had. There is always a price to pay for some things, and a gift to be given in return. The gift of food in this case, hopefully. Mind you, it's been a blooming awful blooming weather year this year, she says, rambling on. And I've totally gone off script, as usual. I'm just trying to look at my notes to see what I missed. Soapboxes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, soapboxes. Anyway, the universalist approach of Druidry within OBOD. I mean, not everybody here is an OBOD member, but I think one of the things that the OBOD courses have taught me particularly to stop myself from jumping on endless numbers of soapboxes and waving my Aries double-edged sword of truth around at people in a kind of "ooh, you" kind of fashion, is that everyone has a point of view. Everyone's point of view is valid to themselves. Everyone has a truth with a capital T, and it's their truth, and we can't deny it as a truth. So our task, once we've found our feet on our little square patch and we are sound and balanced within this, secure in the knowledge that our roots are in our bit of land underneath us, is we have to move that security up, bypass our gob for a few moments and let it sit in our heads for a second, and open our ears. And we have to actively listen to what people are saying. And we have to listen beyond the words they're saying and listen to maybe a deeper meaning or a deeper fear or a deeper terror that might be guiding their faith, their words and their actions. If we are merely keyboard warriors with the Gatling gun that is the keyboard, so easy to use, we can't see the whites of our perceived enemy's eyes. We need to be able to look in each other's eyes, and we need to do that thing that the artist did, where she spent 3 minutes just looking into people's eyes and them looking into hers, not speaking necessarily, not overlaying our truth over somebody else's, but just looking and seeing another human being. Maybe they're struggling the same as you are for different reasons, or even the same reasons. Their responses to it aren't necessarily the same. But that sense of communion when you look in someone's eyes, whether you agree with their politics, with their spiritual creed or anything else, there is something about looking into another living being's eyes and just letting them be who they are, seeing them for who they really are, not just the words that can spill out of people's mouths. I think that for me, when I stopped jumping up and down on my soapbox, which has only been very recently, as my friends with an eye roll will attest to, and my sword is kind of rather dull and stood up in a corner somewhere, it's almost a relief, actually. It's almost a relief to stop sticking a flag in the ground and going, "This is my battlefield. I will fight you." Because I don't think anybody really truthfully wants to fight. What they want is that sense of belonging. What they want is that sense of connection to being embraced by somebody who doesn't have to understand their life story, who doesn't have to walk a mile in their shoes, but just has to actively say, "I hear you, and I'm listening. This isn't all as bad as it seems." And that can only come from, at a centered, one-centered human being, opening their hearts to someone who isn't necessarily. When I was a kid at school, senior school, I had quite a rotten time of it actually. Oh, boo-hoo, smallest violin, and all that. But I had a very peculiar understanding. I was quite mercilessly bullied because people perceived me as being odd. I I thought I was odd, so, the fact that other people found me odd, um, wasn't a surprise. The fact that they felt the need to mercilessly bully me, and do some quite unpleasant, things like throw milk bottles at my legs and all that kind of stuff was very bewildering. Um, but the peculiar thing was, when I was on my own at times, some of those bullies would seek me out. They would find that odd weirdo, and they would sit down and they would tell me all their problems and the fact that they were unhappy at home, things were difficult were happening or whatever. And I would just listen. I would think, okay, doesn't explain why you're being an arse, but okay. And I would just listen. And I would understand a bit more about them, and then when the bullying would happen again in the class the next time, they'd have the good grace at least not to look me in the eye while they were doing it. And I would just stay quiet and let them get on with it because I understood what was going on behind their eyes. That's a very odd feeling to still see that happening in the wider world. But my only advice is keep going back. Keep going back to the earth. That start with that square foot around you. Feel that security. Feel that core. Feel that core moving up through your head and being the strength that allows you to to hold the double-edged sword that sits in your face. And only when you truly have a battle that you can unleash that sword upon to make a difference, let it fly. There's nothing wrong with a good battle. I'm an Aries, I know this. So, what I think I would quite like to do to offer maybe a method, a druidic possibly method, maybe we shouldn't label it druidic. Maybe we open our hearts and call it an earthly way of finding a sense of belonging in the screaming abdabs that is the world at the moment, the doolaliness of global humanity losing its marbles, for some pretty good reasons. Let's be fair, there are some pretty awful things happening in the world, and we can't ignore that. However, we can't fix all of those problems. What we can do is fix ourselves. We can be compassionate. Yes, compassion is our greatest strength. As somebody, Diana, has said down here. And to find our compassion, we need to find our composure. And to that end, I think I would quite like to offer this meditation. Oh, my dog is just about to bark at something because something outside has just jumped over the fence. So please forgive my dog barking. Oscar, come and lay down. There's a good boy. So if you would like to find yourself sitting comfortably, maybe close your eyes and take a few short breaths. And I invite you to find yourself with a sense of the outdoors. Whether you envision that, whether you feel that, whether you sense it in whatever way you will, try to bring to mind an open woodland, wide-spaced trees, the sound of autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere, sounds of nature all around us. Oscar, please. The sound of the dog in the wild, wild woods. Unhelpful. And when you feel yourself in a space where the trees are all around you, you can feel the breeze, hear the leaves. I want you to find a tree within this space. Someone calling to you. Someone speaking your language, inviting you to come and sit beside it. A being of light and beauty, offering you a space of sanctuary and security. Move towards this beautiful, open-hearted being. Feel yourself stepping lightly across the earth and sit at the roots, enfolded and comfortable, and let this beautiful being, this wise, old, gnarly tree of wonder, hold you in this space. And take a long, slow breath. As you do, feel those roots becoming your roots, secure, held, nurtured and fed, connecting through the earth with all the other trees in the forest. And take another long, slow breath. And feel the ages past, ages to come, stories of the ancestors of the tree, of the animals, of the wild wood at large. All that history, all those stories, singing, speaking, wisdom, and heartfelt words into your soul. And feel your back against the bark of the tree, this sturdy, solid, secure trunk, its feet firmly on the floor, offering you this welcoming backrest, holding you safe and right and true. Take a long, slow breath with that sense of connection as it thrusts upwards towards the sky, its branches at all angles, reaching and moving, ever changing, yet ever the same. that sense of continuity, of growth, of change with the seasons. Feel all of that as you take in another long, slow breath. And as you feel the trunk, its lower branches, and the thrusting, moving sap deep within it, taking nourishment from the deep earth up and up through every vein and every cell to feed the leaves that soak up the sun and the stars and the moon's light. Feel the strength of the seasons, ever changing, ever the same. The wind and the rain that bring the stories and the food and the triumph of life as they exchange their song, their energy, and their nourishment with each other and with you. At one with this tree, you are at one with all the trees of the forest. And all the trees of the forest are at one with the earth, held, nurtured, safe and secure, home to a myriad of tiny, smaller creatures, each one dependent on each other, each one of them dependent on how we respond to the earth and to them. A great and beautiful, powerful belonging with all of nature. We are at one. We are in harmony in this moment and for all time. We are nature. This is our core. This is our wisdom. May we never forget this moment as we deal with all the things that can shake and rattle and move our roots. Take a long, slow breath with the leaves in the canopy above you. Drink in the energy of the stars, the sun and the moon, the wind and the rain. Let it feed you, let it advise you, and let it help you accept the turning seasons of life. And when you're comfortable and happy and totally full of this sense of belonging, bring that sense down and down through your head, through your mind, through your mouth. Let it make you sing. Let your breath radiate with words of love and connection. Let it sink deep, deep into your heart, down through your pelvis into your feet. The core of you is like the world tree, ever present, ever strong, even when the earth shakes and rattles us. This moment is ours forever. This language, the wisdom of trees, is ours forever, as long as we need it and want it. Bring yourself back to your present place and time. Feel the breath in your body, strong, healthy, and full of vitality, ready to speak your truth at any time, but with the wisdom of the trees to know when and how. And when you are ready, give thanks to this beautiful tree being for its gifts. And bring yourself back here and now to this moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, and be here now. Oh, I think I may have run over a bit again. I hope this has been useful or entertaining or just madcap. I wish you all a strong sense of belonging, a strong sense of connection through this beautiful community that spans the globe, and know that we are all connected. We only have to feel our feet on the floor and to look up at the stars to know we are all here for each other at any time. I thank you for joining me, and I send much, much love to everybody there, and I'll catch up with questions and things with the comments over the next couple of hours with a cup of tea. I wish you all much love, and I say good night to everybody. Take care wherever you are all over the world. Bye-bye.